What's the difference between the east side and the west side of Vancouver, Washington, and which side is better? That's what we're talking about today. Hey, welcome back to the Living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington YouTube channel. I'm your host, Hannah Dubine, and boy am I excited that you're here today because we're talking about one of my favorite cities in Clark County, Vancouver, Washington. Vancouver's our biggest city. It's a city that I help people buy and sell homes in every week, and it's got two sides to it. It's got the east side and it's got the west side. A lot of times you'll hear people say, you know, they like the west side better, they like the east side better. And if you're not from here, you might be wondering what the differences are and actually which side is better, or the better question is, which side is better for me? By the way, if you haven't already, you should sign up for our Weekend Happenings email. We handwrite it, I handwrite it every single week. We put the best 3 to 5 events locally happening in that email. We send it straight to you, and I promise we won't send you other junk. First of all, where is the east side and where is the west side? Most people would consider the east side to be east of I-205. So east of I-205, that's the East Clark County area. People would consider west side of Vancouver to be west of I-5. If you're in the middle, you're kind of in the middle. You're not really on the east or the west side, so this doesn't apply. Let's dive into the west side first. The west side really consists of downtown Vancouver, uptown, Lakeshore, Philida, Hazeldale, and I would say Salmon Creek as well. Once you get past Salmon Creek and you go more north than that, you're in more the Mount Vista and Ridgefield area. People would consider you maybe more in North County. But the areas I just listed off, that's really the west side of Vancouver. The west side is a lot older than the east side. East side is newer. West side is where the first settlers of Vancouver landed. So that would be downtown Vancouver. That's where our oldest homes are. If you've been to downtown Vancouver before, you've probably seen Esther Short Park. Esther Short was the original, the OG lady settler of Vancouver. She's got her old house down there. It's a whole historical museum, basically, that's dedicated to her and the first people that built Vancouver. Once they settled in downtown Vancouver, they kind of started going up north, up, you know, looking out to Vancouver Lake, because obviously that's a beautiful view. The OG super nice area of Vancouver was Lakeshore. Lakeshore, if you've seen some of the homes there, they're like 70s and 80s mostly. And a lot of them, if they have views, they've got these huge windows, which was very luxury. They're outdated now, but they've still got great bones. Now the bee's knees of the west side is Philida, Salmon Creek, and I would even say like a little bit north of that, Mount Vista, where they're starting to build more. And there are lots of new communities up in those areas. The ones I just listed off, Philida, Salmon Creek, Mount Vista, I would say they're all pretty tight-knit, especially Salmon Creek and Philida. They kind of operate like their own little towns, even though they are a part of Vancouver. They're out of the way, right? They're only really residential areas. And so people kind of stay in their pocket. They tend to do sports groups or do churches and of course schools in those areas. So they're just very tight-knit little communities. If you live on the west side, where you're gonna go for shopping is probably around Hazeldale area. There's not a lot of big shopping in Salmon Creek. I mean, there's like Fred Meyer and a handful of stores up there, so it's not bad. And there's definitely not big shopping in Philida. Philida is pretty much only residential and then some kind of boutique type stores. But Hazeldale, excuse me, and Highway 99 are gonna have a lot of what you need. They have Safeway, they have Walmart, they have Winco, they have local restaurants, they have hardware stores, places to get your car fixed, all that stuff. Let's talk about the east side now. East Vancouver is really east of I-205, and the east side, though it does have many older homes, especially up more in the north area, Image, Fircrest, Countryside Woods, those kind of areas, you know, those are some 70s, some 80s, some 90s, but a lot of the development in East Vancouver happened in the 90s and the 2000s, specifically Fisher's Landing. Fisher's Landing really popped off in the 90s. But the truth is that the east side was the like not so cool area to live for a long time. If you were well off, you used to live on the west side. And you know, the 90s came around and they started developing Fisher's Landing, but the Camas paper mill was still in development during that time. So if you lived too close to it, it smelled disgusting. It smelled like rotten eggs. It doesn't anymore, thankfully, but that was the stigma that the East Side was really against. Over the last 10, 15 years, the East Side has become a very desirable place to live. It's got lots of great stores. It's got easy access. I've lived there for many years. You know, I live right on the border of Camas and East Vancouver now. It's absolutely wonderful. But it came from a troubled past. It wasn't always the cool spot to live. I'll put a link down below of another video I found here on YouTube that someone told me about, and it was them driving up 164th Avenue before anything was developed there. I believe it was in the 80s, and it was just so crazy to see because I wasn't alive in the 80s, if you can't tell, and so I've always known this area to be developed, but it used to just be farmland. It used to be completely open, and so when I talk to my older clients, older friends and family, they reminisce on those days when it used to be completely open and undeveloped. I think the shopping is superb in East Vancouver. Mill Plain Boulevard and 164th Avenue are absolutely lined with everything you need. They have drugstores, grocery stores, department stores, convenience places, gas stations, restaurants. Not a lot of like little shops. That's kind of more for downtown Camas and downtown Vancouver, but everything you need is really right there. I will say, if you need consistent access to Portland International Airport, PDX, you should probably live on the East Side if it's really close to you, if it's really important to you to be close. If you live on the West Side, you're still gonna be relatively close. It's probably just gonna take you an extra 10 minutes because you're gonna have to cut over east at some point and probably go across the 205 bridge. Overall, East Side and West Side are both very nice. It's hard for me to properly describe in a video the vibes of both of the areas. I would say they both have old money, they both have new money, they both have good neighborhoods, they both have bad neighborhoods. It depends specifically on where you want to live. I would base a lot of your decision on where you want to live around the conveniences that you want to be by, the lifestyle that you want, and the neighbors that you want. If you're thinking about moving to Vancouver, Camas, or Clark County, Washington, myself and my team at 𝐍𝐞𝐢𝐠𝐡 Realty Group would really love to serve you. We'd love to help you figure out if East Side or West Side is best for you. We pride ourselves on being matchmakers. So just text us, DM us on Instagram at @HannahDuBine, or send us an email. We can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you next week. Bye.